This video is about the morals of Chinese connection and how it parallels with reality. And certainly it is a sort of gender-neutral, sort of ballist, Greco-Roman kind of LGBT-friendly twist of the true story. And of course, Bruce Lee was in Hollywood. They're on some Greco-Roman Greek play, gender-neutral kind of twist of reality using technology and science. Before I even start, I want you to consider, obviously my form is reduced because of drugs and so on and so forth. You know, they're drugging me and cheating me. That long ago, the Romans, the pagans, the Jews, eventually the Muslims, got together and decided that they were going to address their worldly concerns and not put even the slightest care toward religion by making Christianity in a way that would screen out the righteous in every culture that would be allowed to exist in a Western world, which now includes the entire planet, would first and foremost screen out the righteous and split the rewards among them, sort of like the Roman soldiers casting lots for Jesus's clothes. Okay, you're an idiot if you don't understand that. You're an idiot if you need me to explain what I mean by a Western world. What are the governments of the world, right? You know, there's communist parties. They're all Western philosophies that dominate the entire planet. So, you know, you can call it there's the East. There isn't the East anymore. It's just the West, okay? So there's three sayings that make it clear that I'm right, and I should be able to stop just there. Number one, life isn't fair. Number two, the first shall be last. Well, why? Why should the alpha be last? Right? And why should the beta be seen as the alpha? Why should a bunch of betas who are last be seen as the alphas? It's stupid. And for women to follow suit, they're stupid. Right? It's breeding. It's conditioning. It's hopeless. The last one is the good guy finishes last. So life isn't fair. The first shall be last, and the good guy finishes last. So the alpha, we all know, is a good guy. The highest principles of morality. Not a decent guy, mind you. The good guy. So the good guy isn't the nerd in the truest interpretation of the saying. He is the martial art hero finishing last, right? He's being demoted. No one is ripped off more than he is. When you look at the contrast, you look at it in terms of what is relative to what. You know, how much has he been ripped off? How much worse is it for attractive women to shun me than some ugly criminal or something? Or some rich ninny, even though they don't get shunned? Okay. No one is more ripped off than I am. No one is done more dirty than I am. And in that sense, perhaps where it matters most, in this world, I finished last. But obviously, they have ultimately elevated me more spiritually. Now, do I think that excuses them? No, I think they're cowards. I think they're weaklings. I think everyone else should be executed immediately for not obeying me, with the possible exception of my parents. It's my honest opinion. I've thought of this in many states of mind. Drugged, sober, on psych meds, off. I've waited for a long time for any possible, viable counter-argument. There is not even the semblance in the beginning of a viable counter-argument. Everyone else knows they should be executed for their extreme cowardice and the resulting depraved state of the world that we're in. Okay, so we look at the Chinese connection. I could go on about the wordplay here, okay? The connection, right? The chin as E and so on, right? The Chinese connection, right? Con, neck, shun. In Horus's true cult center being Nekhen in the southern part of Egypt, the Aswan government, as it's said, and, you know, not far above Nubia. All right. So Chinese connection. It's right there in the beginning of the word, the neck shun. And this has implications on height. This has implications on physical ability and lateral movements as they pertain to the back, you know, torque, okay, lateral movements, dodging, okay, the torque, the twisting motion, okay. Not to be confused with the snake, but rather the slight movements of the hawk and the falcon as it hovers around, okay. That's important as well, because this doesn't have to do, their caduceus symbol in medicine and otherwise is part of where they kill people in hospitals and soft kill them and all the horrible stuff they do, is two snakes, and the truest interpretation is they're both poisonous, fighting over who's on top, and they're meant to mate halfway. Okay, it is a despicable coward symbol, and people should not accept a life under those terms, but they do because they're cowards. All right, so we look at Chinese connection, okay? Let's talk about the key elements here, and let's wrap this up, shall we? Number one, they poison his master. Why? Because of his social status and his philosophy. His philosophy is good, and he is famous for it, and he is a better martial artist than these other guys, if you read between the lines at least. And therefore, he's rubbing it in their faces that he's a better man than they are, and he's better at martial arts. He's more good. Okay. Again, Chinese connection, number one, these guys are from Shu's camp. They're trying to show people the truth, and it has everything to do with shoes, okay? Shoes and the ability to do lateral movements. This is one of the shoes that allows me to move quickly and to outmaneuver people and to strike them effectively, okay? Now, obviously, in bare feet, it becomes even more dramatic. So moving on. All right. And that is the Narmer palette, right? The Narmer palette, right? Shu, the guy who represents more of Shu's philosophy, is holding his sandals, his shoes, the sandal bearer. Okay, so they poison the master for status and philosophy. And then there's the scene where he says, how can a healthy man die? Okay, they said he was poisoned, so on and so forth. And he said, they said that he died of some kind of natural causes, right? And he says, and you believe him, right? It's kind of lost in translation perhaps, but bottom line, what he's getting at is, regardless who the medical experts are, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about if they're confused about it, and more likely they're in on it, and you're not supposed to believe them. Okay, his master was poisoned, and the guy was wrong for telling him to let it go, because later on it comes out that they actually did poison him, and he catches some of the guys who were involved talking about it, and they were crypto-Japanese. In other words, they were pretending to be one race, but they actually belonged to another race, and that culture within that race, they had their allegiance to. Okay. So he eventually, they bury the master, and he's clawing at the mud at the grave because he doesn't want to let him go. His way of mourning him. He's more intensely in pain. And the guy who takes over first master takes a shovel and hits him on the back. He's wrong. You see, consistently that guy's wrong. He's wrong not to accept that his master has been poisoned and to tell it that way. He's wrong to hit this guy in the back while they're mourning. This guy is in more pain than everyone else. Let him express it. Okay. This has implications on mental health failure as well. Their inability to let heroes express their emotion is part of why society is a piece of shit. Okay, so the new leadership is inadequate. You have the crypto-Japanese. Okay. Then eventually we go to this scene where the interpreter provokes him. After he says, so why did you kill my master? Reminds me of this song I made when I was not thinking about this movie, mind you. This is naturally what you would expect. Internalizing the movie had very little to do with it, where I end the song where I'm saying, you're the reason people turn to gangs. And the reason so on and so forth, right? The reason why my flow's so ill, it was the scum. And I say you should grab them by their chicken neck and ask them, motherfucker, why, right? So this is the hero, the expected hero response. It's not just something we should pick up on just interacting with people. It's something the movie has made clear to every attractive female in America. Let's understand that. I live in California. Hollywood is in Southern California. It's been made clear to every attractive female here. You are not to shun the hero. This is the expected reaction of the hero. This is what he's going to look like. You have no excuse. Many, many cartoons, many, many movies. They have no reason to believe that that's not how it is. They have every reason to believe that that is how it is. Martin Luther King and so on. Okay. So the interpreter is saying, there's not a man among you. The Japanese are laughing. Then they slap him in the face. They slap Bruce Lee in the face. Okay. And this has parallels to the Jesus story. Okay. Where he says, turn the other cheek. Also, it has parallels with emasculating the black man, right? The liberal, black people have basically been assigned as liberals or as house niggas on the right. So they're gay, friendly, tight jeans. I don't have any tight jeans on, okay? Baggy jeans, okay? There's not a man among you, right? That's what they're saying to them. And that's what society, America, and in popular culture, the white establishment, but it's really all the social controllers are basically, and everyone else really, is saying to the only blacks with heart, and I might be the only one, okay? He's saying there's not a man among you. You're going to accept being emasculated by the New World Order and going out like an Urkel, Carlton, kind of black butler from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type of bitch, or Benson type of pussy, okay? So then, of course, they give him a sign. It says, what does it mean? Sick man of Asia. So he goes there. So now they have challenged him on their terms, which he's not allowed to accept. There's parallels there with them not truly challenging me in a fair way. Okay, they have all these Olympics, all this stuff. I'm not allowed to try out for this shit. They have all these different tournaments. They're on their terms. These aren't true martial art tournaments. So he goes and issues an open challenge. Write this down. Bruce Lee goes to these people, like I went to the entire martial art world that brags on the internet, especially on YouTube, all day and all night, and I said, I'm challenging whenever you are ready, I'll take on any one of you fake martial artists in this fucking world, in this godforsaken, hero-killing piece of shit planet. That's what I said. I said, I am not a sick man. You will not hide behind mental health. And I pulled their fucking whole card and raised it to $100,000 in a capitalist nation. I pulled their whole card. It has been pulled, period. There's no ever correcting that or taking it back. It's done. I pulled their motherfucking whole card. I repeat, I pulled their fucking whole card and showed them that it was them who are sick. They are the sick ones. They are the ones who made the deal with the devil. Deal being a scramble for the word lead. They are led by bitches who have conformed to the state. I pulled their motherfucking whole card. Okay? Don't ever mistake that. Motherfuckers. Okay? Anyway. So, he carries himself a certain way as he does it. Why isn't he humble? Because when you're the hero pulling their whole cards, there's no reason to be humble. Am I going there to play patty cake? Is my challenge for a bunch of bitches? No. The idea is, it ended up being for a bunch of bitches because they acted like bitches about it. Yes. If she showed up, it would be more courageous than all these motherfuckers that didn't show up. Okay? She would be more of a man than they are. They hid behind social norms like a colonialist little slave little bitch. There wasn't a man among them. There wasn't a man among them. And all they could do is try to confound my speech using drugs and technology and hide behind sexual sadistic psychiatrists and their bitch-ass, big farmer, pussy-ass, pussy-clot, bitch-made fucking network. Bitch-made. Mother Earth worshipping, bitch-made motherfucking network. I pulled their motherfucking whole cards. I put them in check. I'm the falcon that seals it. Don't you ever forget that. Anyway. So eventually, he easily, with one hit, deals with the first guy. That's also symbolic. My argument is the first hit, right? Sparring. The first hit. You outmaneuver him and strike him. The guy tried to do some bitch shit. Pow! He's more focused and then boom, he lands on the ground. It's like I would stab them effectively and they'd go down the ground bleeding out, gushing blood. Okay. He says, surround him. Okay? They don't understand that they're inferior because they're two knucklehead, bitch-made, thong-wearing bitch. It is the master who's watching this play out who starts to wake up. He gets it. All the students didn't get it. Just like when I said, the reason why they didn't accept my challenge is because some of them are smart enough to know they can't win. So he watches this play out. Then he takes them on. Eventually, Bruce Lee beats him with some difficulty, right? And this has to do with the mental component of martial arts. The wisest among them took him seriously. Face backwards, E safe. If you're an E-Bert, effeminate, emasculate, evil, right, you're safe. If we remove the vowels, we get safa, just like we get nigga from the N-word. Safa, right? If we scramble the words and change the vowels. And this is significant and important. If you take the A route, right, with an A, masculine, I'm manning up, and I'm taking form, okay, then you are going to suffer. And obviously, my ability to take form has been reduced. I can't even exercise these days. I've done, I hardly do any exercise. So my body's all soft. And you can imagine, and I'll put the picture at the end. Let's just finish this up. Okay, so you have the love scene at the graveyard, the passion implications. There's no sex. This is an alpha exchange with a woman, something that women should value more. They're not really a woman or really a lady if they value some E-Bert bullshit instead of this exchange with the alpha male. And those who obey and are screened out with him. His martial art family is attacked. Okay, there's parallels. Obviously, they persecute my families, and 4 or 5 members they've killed. They say you're the wrong color. That scene, and it's the Indian guy. This is really meant for black people. And you put it in this context. They're referring to the Black Civil Rights Movement. The students help him. There's the Russian guy. He goes fights the Russian. Goes fights the leader. He kills him. He goes out in the end, and they say, "Who says life is preferred?" The moral of the story: when the globalist firing squad kills him, who says life is preferred?